Hey, it is time for Week 10, the Ylose pod, talking college football and giving you guys winners, sides, totals, player props. We're all over the place. When we look at marquee games, I think there is one that is obviously the biggest in college football. That resides in the Big Ten. It's where we're going to start today with Ohio State taking on Penn State and Happy Valley. We've got two in the Big Ten for you, two in the SEC, one in the ACC. Other games that we will get into that have a lot of significance. Texas A&M, South Carolina, that is a hidden gem game that we're going to get to in the SEC. A couple of games we won't touch. Ole Miss, Arkansas. This is elimination for Ole Miss. And if you're an Ole Miss fan before the season started, if you would have said you had two losses going into the month of November, you're probably puking because Ole Miss has never been to the postseason in this regard, in a championship regard. And now if they lose another game, Ole Miss is on the outside and they ain't getting in. And they've still got Georgia to come. But this Arkansas team, when the offense is clicking, let's not forget Bobby Petrino, the former Arkansas head coach, now the offensive coordinator. This offense has gone over 603 different games this year. So I think that is a really interesting game to look at. Indiana, Michigan State, another game of the Big Ten that we will not touch. Jonathan Smith is a hell of a coach. You saw it in Corvallis with Oregon State. You've seen a drop-off since he's left. But this Michigan State program is going to get right. Mark D'Antonio had them in a college football playoff back in 2015. Jonathan Smith will get Michigan State back to a college football playoff. Before you frown and laugh at that, on the other side of that, I think Indiana, I'm not going to say they're already in, but watching this Indiana team, I think they're going to go 11-1. I think they will win this weekend. I'm scared away from the game, though. I'm probably not going to play it because I'm not going to fade Indiana at this point. People continue to doubt them. They're leading the Big Ten in almost everything. When you look at points per game, you look at sacks, you look at tackles for losses. They haven't given up a point in the first quarter. They're one of two teams that is yet to trail this college football season, 8 games in. That is insane. So there are some significant games around the country. But again, we're going to start with the biggest one, and that is in Happy Valley, Penn State, and Ohio State. I do a daily sports talk show where we talk really nothing but college football. And I posed the question to my two co-hosts earlier this week, who's got more pressure on them? Is it Ryan Day or is it James Franklin? Because both of these guys, you look at James Franklin, well publicized. He's 3-17 against top 10 teams. He is 1-9 against Ohio State. But if you look at the other side of this, Ryan Day is a coach that is yet to win a national championship. I still go back to 2022 when if CJ Stroud, if they just play more aggressive, they don't play for the kick, I think they ultimately beat Georgia. They go on and they run TCU off the field. Didn't happen. So they have yet to win a national championship. And Ryan Day is only 2-6 against the top 5. A lot of that is Michigan the last few years. But Ohio State absolutely, with one loss, has to win this game. So pressure on both sides here. Ohio State has won 11 of 12. Ohio State has played a little differently. You know, they lose the 1-point game in Austin to Oregon, who's the number 1 team in the nation right now. You know, that was a great game. And in that game, they lost their left tackle, Josh Simmons. And this has been a big loss for Ohio State. The offensive line, which was pegged as one of the best units coming into college football in the 2024 season, they showed some chinks in the armor last week against Nebraska. And for Nebraska, give Matt Rule a lot of credit to completely get curb stomped by Indiana 56-7, and then to come back, make it a one-possession game in the horseshoe where they had an opportunity to win that game late. That was impressive. With all that said, Ohio State, they're not as whole as they once were with Josh Simmons, but Ohio State can get after the quarterback. And a big key here, Drew Aller. You know, he leaves the game this past Saturday against Wisconsin, where, by the way, we did have Wisconsin, and I felt good about it until the pick 6 that Braden Locke threw. But Drew Aller's questionable. Bo Pribula, who came in, very confident kid, if he gets the start, I don't think Penn State's got a shot in this game. It'll be all about Katron Allen, Nick Singleton running the football. But James Franklin, 1-9 against Ohio State. I'm only laying 3.5, and I think a lot of that is based on the fact that Ohio State did struggle to beat Nebraska last week. I like the Buckeyes. I'm laying the 3.5. That game, the noon Fox kickoff, that is our first play today on the Ylose pod. Remember this, daily $49, weekly $99, monthly $2.99. We have got 3 can't lose plays coming up for you this Saturday. The way this will work, we're going to give you the 3-0. If we don't go 3-0, you buy the daily for $49. We're going to upgrade you to the weekly. If you buy the weekly for $99, we don't go 3-0. We're going to upgrade you to the monthly, which you can get for $2.99. Again, to subscribe, then like ylose.com @Lance. Our next game, we're going to the SEC, game that I've only been to one time. And I know if you're, watching this podcast in Seattle or San Jose or Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you sit back and you watch this game, Florida and Georgia, the world's largest cocktail party, and you wonder, I wonder if it's a drunk fest like everybody says. It is. I've only been one time, but it's an outstanding atmosphere. Georgia has won 6 of 7 against Florida. This hasn't traditionally been a good game. It's a great rivalry, but 9 of the last 10 games have been decided by double digits. The last team to beat Georgia, not named Alabama, was Florida in the 2020 cocktail party. And I do think this Florida team is getting better. I thought before the season, as most people did, the shortest odds to lose their job was Billy Napier. I thought he was dead man walking in Gainesville. They've won 3 of their last 4. They're playing pretty good football. And DJ Lagway, because Graham Mertz goes out with the injury for the year, the freshman quarterback, is playing well. He averaged 37 yards per completions against Kentucky last week. That is the best in the FBS since 2018. No surprise there. I think Lagway will play good enough, and I know what Kirby Smart's going to do here. He's going to try to pressure Lagway into making those mistakes, but I think Florida keeps it close here. This number is dropping right now. I like Florida plus 14.5 against Georgia. That is your play. 3:30 ABC. Very weird that the cocktail party is on ABC. We know CBS owned the SEC for years, and now it's on ABC. I can't remember the last time that game was played on ABC. Tate Ratledge is a big key coming back probably for the Georgia Bulldogs, best guard in all of football. So that will be good for the Georgia Bulldogs. There's just something a little off right now from Georgia. If they put a full 60 minutes together, watch out. But again, I think Florida's playing with a lot of confidence, and it starts with the quarterback position, DJ Lagway. And again, winning 3 of 4, their one loss over that time in Knoxville to a really good Tennessee team in overtime. Our next game we're taking a look at, we're going back to the Big Ten, and this is a game that's on CBS, and it's just so weird to see Big Ten, Oregon, Michigan on CBS, and Florida, Georgia on ABC. Typically, those were flipped and flopped. Oregon 8-0 for the first time since 2013, and I thought Oregon played their best football. We have backed Oregon a lot this year. We backed them again last week against Illinois. They're ranked number 1 for the first time since 2012 in 4 Big Ten games. They've had 3-score leads at halftime. I think it's a little different here. Michigan can't figure out their quarterback situation. They're going back to Davis Warren. It doesn't matter. They don't have a good quarterback on the roster. Alex Orji didn't work. Jack Tuttle is now retired from football, and you're going back to Davis Warren. This is a kid that survived cancer. It's a great story, and I still think Michigan's got a very good defense. This number is another one that is moving. It got as high as 16. Now Oregon, most shops have got it at 14.5, a total of 45. It shows you shouldn't be a lot of points scored in this game. A lot of that has to do with Michigan. But I think Michigan will limit what Dylan Gabriel does here. I think they're able to pressure him, and I think they're able to keep it under the number. The Texas game got away from them. They had some red zone situations where they just couldn't convert. But I think Michigan running the football, got to get it back to Khalil Mullings and Donovan Edwards. I think doing that, shortening this game a little bit. I think 14.5 too much. I'm taking Michigan, their third game right here on the Ylose pod, which we do every single week. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it. We would appreciate that. Going to the ACC for game number 4. And this is a tricky game. Everybody looks at Clemson, and this is the way people believe the scenario is going to play out. And I think there is a fascinating possibility coming up in the ACC. Most people believe Miami's going to win out. They're undefeated right now. A lot of people believe Clemson, the way they're playing right now, they're going to win out. So 11-1, 12-0 Miami. What do you do with SMU? SMU's one loss at home by 3 to an undefeated BYU team. Imagine if all 3 of those teams went out. Because of tiebreaker, you have Miami and Clemson playing in the ACC championship game. SMU stays at home 11-1, and SMU doesn't get into a college football playoff by not being allowed to play in their championship game. At the same time, can you imagine a 12-0 Miami losing? Clemson gets in, SMU gets in not playing in the game, and Miami is punished because they get in the game. I think fascinating stuff, possibly in the ACC and in the Big 12. We got another scenario we'll get to another time on the Ylose pod. But the game we're taking a look at, 7:30 ESPN, Louisville in Death Valley against Clemson. Clemson right now a solid 10-point favorite. Clemson has won 6 straight since that second half just meltdown against Georgia where they manhandled them in Atlanta to kick off the season. They've won 6 straight, all by 16-plus points. and they've scored 40 plus in 5 of those games. Cade Klubnik is playing to the level that you saw with Deshaun Watson, that you saw with Trevor Lawrence. Finally, you're getting elite quarterback play for Dabo Swinney, and it is equating into big-time wins for Clemson. With all that said, this Louisville team rolls in. I thought record-wise they would be better. I thought Louisville would be kind of what you're seeing right now with Pittsburgh. I thought they would be that sleeper team. Now, with that said, Louisville's 3 losses, all by 1 possession, to teams that are a combined 22-2. They have lost to Miami by 1 possession. They have lost to Notre Dame by 1 possession, and they have lost to SMU by 1 possession. So pretty incredible that Louisville, when you really start to dissect their losses, all quality losses, all a final possession, and now I'm catching 10 against Clemson. Again, it looks like clear sailing for Clemson to the ACC championship game. But based on all of the upsets we've seen in 2024, not going to surprise me at all if you get a live dog situation here. I know that sounds crazy, but Louisville running the football, putting a little pressure on Klubnik. I like Louisville plus the 10 in this spot. I think that is a great, great play. Our final game, we're going back to the SEC, and we've got Texas A&M, which is really, outside of Vanderbilt, the biggest story so far in the SEC. They're the only undefeated team in conference. They're 5-0, year 1 under Mike Elko. Mike Elko is the first Texas A&M coach to start his career 7-1 since, wait for it, Dana Bible back in 1917. Texas A&M looked dead to rights last week against LSU, down 17-7 at the half. And Colin Klein, the offensive coordinator, and Mike Elko in year 1 decide to go back to Marcel Reed. It worked. Blake Baker, the defensive coordinator for LSU, looked completely lost. This is a quarterback that has already started multiple games for Connor Wegman. Wegman is just off this year. It's not working out. I think Colin Klein and Mike Elko stick with Marcel Reed. This team can run the football. South Carolina's lost 8 straight against ranked teams. But tricky atmosphere in Columbia, under the lights, 7:30 ABC kick. I like the Gamecocks. This number is dropping as well. Back and forth. Right now, we're calling it +3. And we're going to take the Gamecocks, the home team, +3. I've seen it get as low as 2.5 and as high as 3.5. So to recap here on the Ylose pod, which we do every single week, we've got Ohio State, early window, 12 o'clock noon Fox, minus the 3.5. We've got the Florida Gators +14 in the 3:30 window on ABC. We've got Michigan +14.5, 3:30 CBS window. Louisville +10, the 7:30 ESPN window. And finally, South Carolina plus the 3, 7:30 ABC window. So that 4 of our 5, we've got underdogs. We have double-digit underdogs in 3 of those games. I think this is the first time in 10 weeks we've had this on the pod. So there you go. Good luck. 5 winners for you. And again, the deal this weekend right here at Ylose, very simple to subscribe. Go to ylose.com/Lance. We've got 3 can't misses this Saturday. If we don't go 3-0 and you buy a daily for $49, we upgrade you to the weekly for $99. You buy the weekly at $99, we don't go 3-0 this Saturday, we upgrade you to the monthly at $299. That's simple. I'm giving you 5 winners right here, though, on the Ylose podcast. Again, Ohio State, Florida, Michigan, Louisville, South Carolina. Thank you very much. Those are your 5 right there. Your 5-pack, we'll call it, on college football week number 10, but we have 3 more plays up and available coming this weekend. And again, these are guaranteed for you. So like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. It's the Ylose pod. A lot of different cappers all over the place on Ylose. We're all there to win for you. Jump on board, win with us right here at ylose.com/Lance. Have a great week 10. Let's crush it.